Howard and I run my own travel agency in Newport on the Northern Beaches. We opened it 3 years ago, and after about 18 months to 2 years, I hit the wall. I'd achieved everything I set out to do. There were some niggly little problems here and there, but it wasn't quite right. So by introduction of a friend, I met with Melissa Stefano, and Melissa actually managed to highlight to me or get me to verbalise what my biggest challenges were. So with Melissa asking the right questions, I was able to give the right answers, and we went from there. There are several techniques that Melissa used. 3 of them were probably my highlight. She taught me a lot about the language I used with other people. That was probably the language that I thought was getting my point across in the appropriate manner, which when you really examined it and nutted it down, it wasn't always the right way. And with a bit of coaching, I amended the way I verbalised myself in the written word or in my conversations with my staff, my colleagues, or suppliers, even clients, and I found the response quite staggering. It was a smoother process to conduct negotiations or discuss issues, problems, or seek resolutions. And they came much easier, those resolutions, so thank you, Melissa. Another technique I really liked is that Melissa actually asked me questions, and she would never ever stop. The answers, she says, are within yourself. So I guess if you need to find the answers, you have to ask the question. I didn't know what question to ask. Melissa found the questions. I answered them, and as she said, the answers were already in there. I just had to get them out, and I found that invaluable. Another technique was to, when you really don't know where else to go, start drawing pictures. I'm not a painter, I'm not an artist, but I started to put things in colour on white pieces of paper, and all of a sudden there was a plan, and then I could put it with those words that I learned into nice plans, dreams, visions, and communicate that to everyone else. So again, thank you, Melissa. The greatest success from the coaching I received from Melissa was that I actually realised that all the relationships in one's life, not just in one's job, position, business, friends, it's all the relationships flow into one, they influence one another. Once you realise that, it is very easy to keep them separate, professional in your work environment, but you can also then work with the influences of those relationships to one another to resolve actually pretty much all of them. And thank you, Melissa. One of the methods I implemented specifically now to our office and travel agency was that we started to have better communication. It's still not perfect, we're all still working on it. I think communication is one of those key factors that is recognised by everyone as being important, but terribly neglected, ignored, or badly done, or all of the above. We have regular meetings. I have discussed with the staff on how we're trying to use different language, different approach, better listening, all pretty fundamentally basic principles, but it's like common sense. It's not as easy as it sounds. So the improvement within the staff was better communication with one-on-one meetings with each and every staff member on a regular basis. I was able to better assess where they were at. What I found was not always what I wanted to find, but that wasn't the point. It was to find out what it is that makes everybody tick, what everybody actually wanted, not what I thought they wanted. And all up, I think we now have a better team than we did 12 months ago. And thank you, Melissa. The way Melissa served me initially, and I need to really emphasize the word serve, because she was always here to serve me. So her terminology was, how can I serve you today? What would you like to see at the end of today? What would be a good outcome for you? It was all about me. It wasn't about her. And in a way that initially confronted me, because I didn't want it to be about me. I wanted it to be about the business. I wanted it to be about some other staff member. I wanted it to be about the way the world goes, but I never wanted it to be about me, because that ultimately is very confronting, because when it is about you, then you have to answer certain curly questions. We all shrink away from those, but they're ultimately the ones that bring out what you already know and what's within you, and the true answers and solutions that were relevant to me, and therefore it will work. So again, thank you for listening.